My elder sister was made noble consort as soon as she entered the palace. On her birthday, the emperor took her alone to the hot spring palace. There, the emperor held her and kissed her forehead, saying, "I love you." 3 years later, I entered the palace selection. The emperor looked at me and said, "Okay, I love you." TCH, Men. 1. On the day I entered the palace, I paid my respects to the empress. As soon as I stepped into Kuning Palace, I saw a palace maid, beaten bloody, being carried out. Clueless thing. How dare you light just any incense? You ruined Her Highness's good fortune. I kept my head down and followed the lady-in-waiting into the hall. I caught a familiar scent. When no one was looking, I asked quietly, "Lady, what offense did that maid commit to deserve such harsh punishment?" The lady glanced back. I quickly took the longevity lock from my neck and pressed it into her hand. "It's just a common trinket, not worth much. I hope you won't mind." Her expression softened at once. She whispered, "His Majesty hates Ruinao incense above all else. It's a palace taboo." That maid was new, and to curry favor with the empress, she burned it today. His Majesty flew into a rage when he woke up. "If you wish to stay long in the palace, you must be careful." Ruinao incense was my sister's favorite. In every letter she sent, every time I visited her in the palace, I smelled that crisp, clear scent. She was gone, but the scent remained. Now even the fragrance terrified the emperor, too. My sister had been His Majesty's concubine Liang. When he ascended the throne, her favor only grew, and she was named noble consort. He favored her exclusively for 7 days. At their grand union, she wore the jade step pendants reserved only for the empress. My sister loved the peeper. The emperor built a pair garden theater just for her, gathering musical talents from all over to perform for her. When she quarreled with him, she left the palace in a carriage and returned to her maiden home. The emperor humbled himself and went to fetch her in person. Courtiers memorialized against her, calling her a seductress, urging the emperor to think of heirs and spread his favor. Yet my sister remained his sole favorite, unmatched by anyone. After the Battle of Shanju, the emperor followed General Gu's trap plan. He used An Qinglu's weakness for beauty. Li Yu chose among all the unmarried princesses and favored concubines. My sister was the most suitable, the most beautiful, and so, my sister was given to the rebel general An Qinglu by the man she loved. I never even knew if she was forced or willing. Now, everything about my sister was a palace taboo. No one dared speak her name. The things she loved became forbidden in this imperial city. 3. I knelt gracefully and greeted her. The empress was speaking with consort.The. "Lift your head. Let this palace look at you." I raised my head. A strange light flashed in the empress's eyes. Though it quickly faded, I knew what surprised her. I smiled gently. "Your servant comes from a humble family, but I have long heard of your highness's holy reputation. Upon our first meeting, I present a calligraphy work by Master Huang, for your highness's amusement. Master Huang's calligraphy is rare. Even this palace has only seen it once. You have a thoughtful heart." With that, the empress ordered Chouwen, her personal maid, "Hang Lady Liu's tally tonight." I quickly kowtowed in gratitude. The emperor had just lost his temper over incense that very day, and she arranged for me to serve him. The empress was truly clever. She would use the emperor's anger to eliminate me, sparing her own hands. 4. That night, a light rain began to fall. I was instructed by the nannies and waited for the emperor in the Taiji hall. The hall was grand and empty, apart from the bed and redwood bookshelves over 2 meters tall. Only a qin sat on a small table. The emperor understood music well. Even his bedchamber held a qin. Rain pattered. Incense in the hall mixed with the crisp rain. All was silent and desolate. I plucked the strings and played Plum Blossoms, the tune my sister once taught me. "It is your fortunate night. Why play such a sorrowful melody?" The voice came clear as spring water. By candlelight, I saw the extraordinarily handsome emperor. "Your servant greets your majesty." I hurried to rise, but in my panic, I knocked over the qin. the clanging sound echoed through the empty hall. "Your Majesty, please forgive this servant. I was only thinking of my elder sister." I kowtowed until my head nearly bled. "Why are you so clumsy? Tell me, what kind of person is your sister?" The emperor smiled instead. He helped me up. The moment our eyes met, I felt his fingers tighten, and his body sway slightly. "Your Majesty, what's wrong?" I asked, already knowing the answer. "You look very much like someone I once knew." After a long silence, that was all he said. The rain grew heavier. The emperor and I sat on the steps of the hall. He ordered eunuch Shia to bring a peeper, and composed a piece to the Rain, Rain lament. "Is this for the one you knew?" I looked at his unchanged face. "One might say so. You may listen in her place." I sneered inwardly, but showed nothing. No one had stayed the entire night in the Taiji hall since my sister, but that night, the emperor and I listened to the rain together until dawn. I told him about our poor childhood, how my sister always put me first, how she once saved a stray cat and fed it with her own rations. "Your sister was pure and kind, but she was also very stubborn. Once she set her heart on someone or something, she would never let go." "Would your Majesty have liked a girl like my sister?" I asked suddenly. He frowned, his eyes drifting to the rain dripping from the eaves. Liu did not answer. 5. The next day, I returned to the Empress's palace to thank her. I saw an unfamiliar nanny kneeling outside the hall. Lady Chowen brought fresh peonies. I neatly pinned one in the Empress's hair. "Lady Liu, you are truly blessed. His Majesty favors you and kept you through the night." "Thank you, Your Highness. I am new to the palace and still unaccustomed to the rules. I must learn much." The Empress spoke more gently than the day before. "A little girl from the countryside. Now sitting here, that is your blessing. Do not grow arrogant." "Thank you, noble consort, for your instruction." I listened to their barbed congratulations. Outside, the nanny's voice rose louder. "Princess has a high fever in the cold palace. Please, Empress, have mercy on her youth. Send an imperial physician." How unlucky. On such a fine day, that little princess in the cold palace falls ill again. Truly delicate. Noble consort adjusted her phoenix hairpin, her eyes full of impatience. "She is still His Majesty's child, Chowen. Go and see to it. Do not let her make a scene." The Empress put on a virtuous face. "Abao was my sister's only child. My sister was the eldest daughter of our house, born with peerless beauty and a gift for music." Liu, then still crown prince, had taken a fancy to her at first sight. Since her family was not prominent, she was made concubine Liang. After about a year, she gave birth to a daughter, nicknamed Abao. As soon as the emperor ascended the throne, he named my sister noble consort. Abao was titled Princess Yong'an. After the Battle of Shanju, Abao would run to Liu, crying for her mother. The emperor grew annoyed at the sight of her. The other consorts shunned her. The empress had Abao moved to the cold palace, with only a wet nurse to attend her, the very nanny kneeling outside. "Very well, sisters, you may disperse. I had just left Kuning Palace when Chowen followed me out. This is all there is now. Take it. There's nothing better left." Chowen handed the wet nurse a packet of ginseng powder. She spoke haughtily. "This is clearly old ginseng, and only powder at that. Please, lady, have mercy, give something to nourish her. The princess is young, she may not survive." The wet nurse kowtowed until her forehead bled. "Tch, a disfavored princess dares to contradict the empress. Loyal servant, indeed just loyal to the wrong master." Noble consort mocked her, afraid of ruining the empress's reputation. Chowen kicked out. "Ungrateful thing, Her Highness personally bestowed this. And you dare complain? Drag her away and beat her." I stepped forward to stop them, but Sunyang, the maid assigned to me, held me back. "Your ladyship, do not interfere. That one in the cold palace has never been favored. If you plead for her, you will offend the empress. Life will only grow harder." "Lady, is there no justice in this palace?" "If you want justice, your ladyship, you must first gain a patron. With a patron, You may have your way, and suffer no wrongs. After returning to my quarters, I ordered Sunyang to open my chest and quietly send the finest ginseng to the princess. 6. I thought all night, elder sister, this palace eats people alive. Without favor, I cannot protect anyone. A month later, at Liyu's birthday banquet, the consorts all showed off their talents. The empress personally copied a copy of Strategies of the Warring States for the emperor. Noble consort, skilled at the pipa, played Song of the Pipa, enchanting the emperor. Lady Liu, what surprise have you prepared for me? I stood and curtsied. What this servant has prepared is for your majesty's eyes only. Very well, Lady Liu will serve me tonight. The night was deep, hatred burned in the other consort's eyes. Seductress, shameless, noble consort slammed her wine cup down on the spot. The other consorts murmured among themselves, let them think what they will. Sparrows cannot understand the ambition of swans. When night fell, I was taken to the Taiji Palace. I wore a pearl-embroidered cropped dress, a fiery red veil, and heavy makeup. Golden bells on my ankles and wrists tinkled as I moved, to the musician's accompaniment. I danced faster and faster. Liyu was deep in drink. He watched me spin like a butterfly, fall like a leaf. He stepped down himself and beat a drum, matching my dance. When the melody ended, Liyu pulled me into his arms. How many more surprises do you hold? When did you learn the whirling who dance? There is much you do not know. 3 years ago, during the war, countless women, including me, were captured like cattle by rebels. They forced us to dress revealingly and dance for them. Many noble ladies refused and were hacked to death. If my sister had not protected me with her life, I would have died beyond the Great Wall long ago. And my sister, she stayed there forever. I came back to my senses and looked at the emperor tenderly. Your Majesty, do you like the whirling who dance? Liyu was already drunk. He held me and mumbled, I like it, I like it. Aang danced it beautifully. Aang was my elder sister. 7. After one night of favor, I was promoted to GU that day. I accompanied the empress to admire flowers in the imperial garden. We ran straight into noble consort. Sister, you've grown quite bold these days, relying on your likeness to that person. You act with impunity. Noble consort did not speak without reason. On her birthday just days before, the emperor had promised to visit her quarters, but I caught a cold, and after finishing his memorials, he came straight to Yuhua Palace instead. Noble consort had never suffered such humiliation. She stepped forward and slapped me hard. Her sharp silver nails sliced my cheek at once. Blood seeped down the right side of my face. How dare you? Lady Liu may be in the wrong, but you may correct her. Why strike so viciously? The empress suddenly flew into a rage, reprimanding the consort. The reason was simple. The empress procession had arrived. Such an insolent creature. She dares to bully this palace now. Should we keep her for the new year? I did not know you were so domineering. Wanna, noble consort, was still fuming. She turned and saw the flash of bright yellow. Everyone knelt. I bore the pain, covered my face with a handkerchief, and knelt obediently as well. Liu reached out and helped me up. Why are your hands so cold? This servant has disgraced herself. Your Majesty, please forgive me. I swallowed my grievance, not speaking a word against the consort. I let Liu take my hand and lead me toward Yuhua Palace. Noble consort has behaved improperly before His Majesty. Confine her to her quarters for 3 months. 8. The palace buzzed with gossip. The emperor had punished the noble consort for a newly arrived GU. What they did not know was that the emperor had just received military dispatches from beyond the Great Wall that day. Inside Yuhua Hall, Sunyang dressed my wound. The emperor stood with his hands behind his back, overflowing with joy. General Liu has won a great victory. He has taken another city at the border. I am overjoyed. Liu Zheng was my elder brother. The emperor had not hesitated to punish the consort harshly for this reason. When we were at home, brother often told me about his days serving your Majesty as a guard of the Golden Wu. I loved listening. Back then, I never knew he had a sister like you. Li Yu gently pinched my left cheek, then unconsciously touched the injury on my right. It is all my fault. I let you suffer wrong again. It is nothing, Your Majesty. My brother places Your Majesty above all else. So do I. Tenderness brighter than before shone in his eyes. He unexpectedly held me like a helpless child. Clearly, these words were familiar to him. That was exactly what my sister had said to him. The night before she was married off to Qinglu, after a long while, Li Yu came to his senses. I have not been this happy in a long time. Liu, you are my lucky star. 9. I lay softly in Li Yu's arms when a sharp arrow shot through the diamond-patterned window. Your Majesty, look out. I threw myself in front of Li Yu. A sharp pain burst in my chest. I lost my balance and fell. Liu, you fool. As long as Your Majesty is safe, if I die, Your Majesty, please forget me, and be free of trouble. Foolish girl, I will not let you die. Guards, summon the imperial physician. My consciousness blurred. It must be that villain Qinglu. Now he not only occupies 12 cities in the northwest, but also plots to take my life. If I die, the capital will fall into chaos. Exactly his chance. In my coma, I saw blurry figures. How is Lady Liu, Your Majesty? The arrow missed her heart by an inch. I have applied needles and barely saved her life. Whether she wakes fully depends on whether she survives tonight. That night, Li Yu held my hand and stayed by my side. 10. By the grace of Your Majesty's heavenly power, Lady Liu has pulled through. With peaceful rest and a light diet, her wound will heal gradually. I urged Li Yu, who had stayed up all night, to rest. 5 days later, I was promoted to second-rank Jiaoyi. Supports flooded into Yuhua Palace like running water. Your Ladyship. These are the finest ginseng and bird's nest personally bestowed by His Majesty. This old servant shall set them down. Thank you, eunuch, Sunyang. Take the reward silver. He was eunuch Xia, who had served the emperor since childhood. The emperor sending him personally showed that, by risking my life to block the arrow, I had lifted half his guard. It seemed he did not know I had arranged the assassination. It was all to completely erase his suspicion of me. On the day the assassin was caught, Li Yu invited me to watch his execution. Those who betray me shall die a terrible death. The assassin was shot full of arrows by archers at the other end of the horse field. Cold sweat broke out on my palms. Are you cold, Liu? Li Yu took my hand. I shook my head numbly. Back in the bedchamber, my legs went weak. Sunyang, arrange Liu Qi's funeral. Sunyang nodded and prepared to leave. Also, choose the finest items from the storehouse and send them to his family. Liu Qi, I am sorry. 11. As soon as I recovered, Li Yu summoned me to serve him for 9 nights in a row. The consort was so furious she could not eat. That day, the consort and I went to pay our respects to the Empress together. On our way back, we passed the Imperial Garden. Lady Liu Jiaoyi grows more favored by His Majesty by the day. We reached the Lotus Pond. The consort's phoenix eyes lifted. Come and support this palace. I wish to speak with you longer. Alarm bells rang in my heart. All the consort's attendants stepped back. A fish leaped out of the lake, struggling on a lotus leaf. Lady Jiaoyi, look at the fish in the lotus pond, unwilling to stay quietly in the water. They must leap up only to struggle and die. I knew she meant me. I bowed my head and said nothing. But the consort suddenly grabbed my hand and used my arm to throw herself into the lake. Help! Lady Liu Jiaoyi, you are so cruel. The emperor and empress rushed over upon hearing the noise. They saw the consort soaking wet on the bank, wronged and delicate. What is the meaning of this? The consort's maid immediately knelt to report. Your Majesty, Your Highness, my mistress was speaking with Lady Jiaoyi, congratulating her on her promotion, but Lady Jiaoyi still harbors resentment over the last incident. While your servant went to fetch a cloak, she pushed her ladyship into the lotus pond. Your Majesty, her ladyship fell in by herself. My mistress did not push her. Sunyang knelt and defended me. Li Yu looked at me. I shook my head at him, trying to tell him it was not me. Her ladyship has only just ended her confinement. Is Lady Jowie still not satisfied? She dares to offend her superior and falsely accuse her. Your Majesty must uphold justice. The consort's maid spoke convincingly. I then realized, the consort had feigned kindness today, laying this trap for me. Now the two sides argued. No matter what, Liu would suspect me of being vengeful. This matter has not yet been investigated. Lady Jowie, confine yourself to your palace and reflect. Liu helped me up. You must trust me. I will find out the truth. I will not let anyone be wronged. Yes. 12. While I was confined, Abao fell ill again. Sun Yang told me while I was sewing clothes for Abao. The Empress is growing annoyed. Even the princess's wet nurse is no longer allowed to come and go freely. I fear for the princess. Sun Yang trailed off. I knew I could not wait any longer. I called Little Shun, the night guard in the corridor, to speak. He looked troubled. Your ladyship, you must not. If we are caught, this servant would lose 100 heads. Besides, the cold palace is no place for you. I ordered Sun Yang to send the new clothes I had made to the princess. 13. I was worrying over a way when the Empress Dowager suddenly summoned me. The sun is bright. Your Majesty has long been ill. Puguang Pavilion must be a fine place. Basking in the sun to drive out illness will do you much good, Empress Dowager. It is rare that the Emperor favors you. You are thoughtful and considerate. The Empress Dowager had always disliked the consort. The reason was simple. The consort had killed the Dowager's favorite grandson. The Emperor had punished the consort through me, and the Dowager's health had improved greatly. I helped the Empress Dowager to the railing of Puguang Pavilion to look into the distance, far away. We saw a child about 8 years old kneeling on the cold palace stone steps, being beaten. Vixen, your mother was one, and you'll be no better when you grow up. Stop, she is only a child. How dare you treat her this way? Even if she made a small mistake upon entering the palace, you may teach her why strike so hard. Your Majesty, this servant deserves death. I have disturbed you. Choxiang knelt and kowtowed. The child bore the pain, turned, and knelt. Abao is not a servant. Greetings, grandmother. Her milky voice, mixed with sobs, made her all the more endearing. The Empress Dowager had always loved children, and Liu had few heirs. Thinking it was an aunt disciplining a maid, she was horrified to find a servant beating a princess. She quickly took Abao into her arms. Who are you to dare to offend your superior? Drag her away. Aunt Churuan, the Dowager's maid, stepped forward and snapped. This servant is Choxiang from noble consort's quarters. I came to fetch her ladyship's laundered clothes, and the child knocked me over, so I struck her. The consort has quite the upbringing. She beat Lady Liu the other day, now the princess. Tomorrow, will she beat this old palace matriarch too? The Empress Dowager flew into a rage. Choxiang was dragged away at once before she could defend herself. That night, Abao was taken to the Compassion Palace. Aunt Churuan personally cared for her. The next day, the consort was charged with harming the imperial heir. She was punished to kneel outside her palace gates for 3 hours to reflect. As for Choxiang, she never returned to the consort's side. She was beaten to death. I could not eliminate the consort yet, so I used the Dowager's anger to break one of her wings. In the Imperial Garden incident, the Empress had personally found the gardener, who testified against the consort. The gardener had heard every word between the consort and me. He proved the consort had framed me. Between abusing the princess and framing a concubine, the emperor flew into a fury. He stripped the consort of her authority to manage the 6 palaces, demoted her to consort, and confined her to her quarters. The empress had played a masterful game. 14. Abao was raised in the Compassion Palace, and the Empress Dowager's health improved greatly. Even if the emperor disliked Abao, he had to consider the Dowager's well-being. I had to find a way to make him dote on her, only then would she have a greater future. The annual autumn hunt arrived. All the imperial princes in the palace attended. I specially begged the emperor to take a bow with us. Whoever catches the most prey today shall not only receive a reward, I will grant them one wish. Li Yu sat on his horse, high-spirited. Father, do not go back on your word. The 11-year-old second prince seemed confident. Father always keeps his word. Abao wants to go too. That child, Abao, had only just learned to ride, yet there was already a resolve in her eyes that no child her age should bear. She was nothing like my sister. Your father always keeps his word, but you speak boldly for such a little one. The fifth prince stepped forward to pat Abao's head. Fifth brother, let us settle this on the hunting field. Li Yu was stunned by this 9-year-old girl. She was just like he had been, fearless. It was the first time he truly looked at her. She was not a delicate flower, but a wild horse, a flying bird. Go on, children, let your father see what you can do. The children galloped off, each refusing to yield. I am truly growing old. Look at them, so full of youth and fire. Li Yu stared into the distance and sighed. 15. The northern wind whipped the banners. I sat with Li Yu, waiting for the children to return. The sweet dream incense in the burner was half burned. The fifth prince and the second prince returned to the field one after the other. That little thing Abao probably lost her way. They grinned smugly, their horses laden with prey. When the last thread of incense burned out, Abao returned, covered in blood. Seeing she had few kills, the second prince patted her shoulder. Girls should stay home and embroider. The hunt is a man's battlefield. When brother gets his reward, I'll share some with you. The men began counting the prince's prey. Your Majesty, the two princes are evenly matched. The second prince has one more rabbit. He has the most kills this hunt. All eyes turned to the second prince. He was the most suitable heir to the throne, and the winner of the hunt. The old ministers beside Li Yu nodded approvingly. Li Yu was well pleased. Abao was ignored at the back of the crowd. Wait, if father judges only by numbers, where is the fun? Abao has hunted a special prize for father. Abao dismounted, carrying something covered by her cloak. She pushed through the crowd, approached Li Yu, and flipped back the blood-stained cloak. Kneeling, she said, Father, this wild wolf is Abao's gift to you. Everyone present was stunned into silence. This wolf was the one Li Yu had missed in his youth, never to see again. It was the craftiest prey in the entire hunting ground. Li Yu had thought he would never conquer it in this life, yet Abao had done it. What do you want, child? Li Yu could no longer overlook this little princess raised in the cold palace. 16. Abao only asks to study in the academy with the brothers. It was the first time Li Yu seriously considered a girl's request. A great dynasty should give women the same chance to read and write as men. If men are truly capable, the court should not stop women from learning. Li Yu said nothing. Those around him dared not speak. Who taught you this? Li Yu twirled the jade ring on his finger. No one taught me. Father, I shook Li Yu's arm, speaking tenderly. Princess fought so hard for this wolf. Look how battered she is. Your Majesty should take pity on the child. Li Yu nodded. Liu is right. Go change into clean clothes. Someone, bring the princess food. After returning to the palace, Li Yu issued an edict at once. Abao got her wish and studied with the princes at the Hongwen Academy. Within months, Abao showed extraordinary understanding. Her master said she was bright, quick to learn, and had unique insights. Abao is a girl after all. Once she comes of age in 2 years, she cannot study with men anymore. The Empress Dowager turned her prayer beads, looking at me copying Buddhist scriptures. Your Majesty was the talented lady of the capital in her youth. Abao takes after you. There are already female officials in the palace. Why not open schools for girls, so all women under heaven may read? I knelt and looked at the Empress Dowager with hope. A fine thought. The Empress Dowager gave a rare approving look. Abao happily threw her arms around the Empress Dowager's. 17. 3 years later, Abao was about to graduate from the Girls' Academy. General Liu won a great battle and returned to the capital to report. Li Yu held a victory feast. Bao stepped forward to congratulate him and made a new request. Father, Bao is about to graduate from the girls' academy. I ask father for a graduation gift. Bao's achievements at the academy were outstanding. Even the court praised Princess Yong'an. Li Yu valued her more and more. Bao wishes to go beyond the Great Wall with General Liu. Li Yu's eyes darkened. Bao stepped forward and leaned against the Empress Dowager. Grandmother, please beg father for me. I want to see the wider world. Let me go beyond the Great Wall with General Liu. I knew Bao missed her mother. She wanted to visit my sister's grave at Human Pass. A bird grown cannot be caged. Your Majesty, grant her wish. I added at the right moment. The Empress Dowager was reluctant, but did not want to confine Bao. The child is grown. She must see the world. Li Yu still wanted to refuse, but seeing how dearly the Empress Dowager loved Bao, he had to say, 30 golden Wu guards will escort her. Rest easy, mother. On the day she left the palace, I saw her off at Juqiu Gate myself. Go see the wide world, so you will never be trapped in this palace. 18. Noble consort was restored to her title because she was pregnant. From then on, she hated me even more. At the same time, Consortan, who had long been out of favor, also became pregnant. Li Yu favored me as he had favored my sister, but in the harem, there was only favor, no love. That day, the consort and I drank tea in the Empress's palace. The consort took a bite of the peach pastries I had newly made for the Empress. Within moments, she doubled over in terrible pain. The Empress flew into a rage. Liu Jiaoyi, you venomous woman, how dare you harm the imperial heir, Your Highness? These pastries were Lady Liu's gift to you. Aunt Churuan added fuel to the fire. The mistress and maid sang perfectly in tune. Your Highness, this servant is lowly. How would I dare commit such a treasonous act? Fetch the Emperor. Li Yu was furious. Soon, a message came from the consort's palace. Noble consort has miscarried. Li Yu slammed his teacup. All the consorts knelt. Investigate this thoroughly. Lady Liu remains the prime suspect. Take her to the punishment department. The case dragged on for a month. The culprit was found in the consort's palace, a young kitchen maid. Her sister had been praised by the emperor for her beauty. The next day, the consort had her thrown into the well in the west yard. The young girl sought revenge. She wanted the consort and child dead. Li Yu pitied the consort for losing her child. For 7 nights, he stayed in her palace. The consort regained her former glory. But imperial physician Zhong, who had tended the consort's unborn child, disappeared. I wrote to Liu Zheng. Before long, Censor Tai, an old friend of my brother's, presented the missing imperial physician Zhong to Li Yu. The child in the consort's womb had been dead already. She had planned to use the stillborn to frame me, but the maid had turned her plan against her. The consort's crime of faking pregnancy for favor was proven. Li Yu flew into a terrible rage. At the same time, it was discovered that the consort had murdered Consortan's child. The consort had no way to escape punishment. Guards stripped the consort of her title and cast her into the cold palace. Li Yu finally hardened his heart. Her father had held the position of Grand General for too long. It was time for a change. 20. There was another reason for the consort's fall. Her father had lost one battle after another. While General Liu had won the emperor's full trust, he would soon replace him. The emperor no longer wished to indulge the consort. Li Yu had always been good at judging the times. The consort died on a cold autumn day. When I pushed open the cold palace door, the consort sat on the ground, her hair loose, defeated. Get out. I want to see the emperor. A teacup nearly hit my head as I stepped in. It was your father, Jiu Li, who personally sent my sister to the enemy camp. A general, did he ever think his plans should secure the realm, not buy peace with a woman's life? Ridiculous. So you really are Yang Ying's sister. I should have guessed. From the day you entered the palace, I disliked you. You're just like her. I was scared that as long as she was there, I would always be in the background. Later, and Qinglu rebelled. My brother suggested it to His Majesty for my sake. At first, His Majesty was reluctant, but no matter how beautiful she was, no matter how much he valued her, she could never weigh more than the entire empire. A triumphant smile played on her lips. So it wasn't Jiu Li's idea, it was you. You wanted Li Yu's love too badly. Yes, I loved His Highness from the first moment I saw him. At first, he was good to me. But after Yang Ying entered the manor, he became obsessed with her. How could I not hate her? Ha 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 ha. You don't know, she came back. She actually escaped back. I grabbed the consort by the collar. What did you say? The consort slowly wrapped her hand around mine. She saw the hatred in my eyes and flung me away. My palm scraped against the broken teacup shards she had thrown on the floor. A sharp pain shot through my hand. You didn't know, Yang Ying came back, but by the next day, she was carried out of the summer palace. You'll say anything to save your own life. I laughed coldly as I watched her rave like a madwoman. You recognize this jade pendant, don't you? The consort held up a hibiscus jade pendant, the one my sister and I had worn since childhood, never shown to anyone. Liu Ku. This deep palace is not as simple as you think. You can't even recognize your real enemy. This is all you're good for. The consort rose leisurely, sat at the table, picked up tea, and sipped it. If you knew all this, why are you still so trapped? I stepped closer and sat opposite her, full of confusion. What fun is there in understanding everything? When you love someone, do you stop loving them just because they are flawed? Everything can be fair, but love is the hardest thing to make fair. But in this palace, there was only favor, no love. When she finished speaking, I suddenly thought of Liu Zhang. I would always stand behind him, watch him, and complete our revenge together. I wondered if the winter coat I sent last time fit him well. What was he doing right now? 21. Your ladyship. A letter from the princess. As soon as I returned to Yuhua Palace, Sun Yang brought over a thick letter with a smile. It was sealed, for Lady Liu. Personally, Lady Liu. About Mrs. Your Osman thus cakes so much. I've been learning archery and military strategy with General Liu, and we took another city. General Liu looks rough, but he's very gentle inside. When my clothes tore, General Liu mended them himself. He likes to play the zither toward Chang'an at dusk. The music is beautiful. Is grandmother well? Send her my regards. Take care. A bow. I flipped the letter over. Inside was a blank sheet of paper. Sun Yang, bring a lamp. Sun Yang brought the light. I held the paper evenly over the candle flame. All is ready, only the east wind awaits. Zheng, the general was prepared, and so was I. My sister had actually come back. I held the hibiscus pendant. Who had she seen? Did Li Yu know? I began to dig into what had happened after my sister returned. I wrote back to Liu Zheng. Go check my sister's grave. 22. The Empress discovered the letters between Liu Zheng and me. Bao and General Liu had taken another city together. She had even personally overseen water conservancy projects in the border counties. Her teachers at the Girls' Academy praised her endlessly. The name of Princess Yong'an gradually reached the court. After the consort died, the Empress set her sights on me. She began to fear I would threaten her position, just as she had feared my sister once. I was given a bowl of safflower potion. The Empress was triumphant, but what was she so proud of? I had never wanted to bear Li Yu's children. 23. New Year's Eve banquet. I was slightly drunk. Liu Zheng had distinguished himself in battle and taught the princess well. He sat among the honored guests. Halfway through the feast, his seat was empty. I wondered how his investigation into my sister was going. The head eunuch beside me leaned over and whispered, General Liu is waiting for you in the side hall of Wei Yang Pavilion. It's urgent. I slipped away and arrived at Wei Yang Pavilion. Sun Yang stood guard outside. As soon as I stepped in, I smelled strong alcohol mixed with aphrodisiac incense. I covered my nose with a handkerchief. General Liu, no answer. I walked deeper. Suddenly someone covered my mouth. Aying. I pushed him, but he would not let go. Only then did I realize something was wrong. Liu Zhang, wake up, it's Yang Ku. I slapped him hard. I grabbed a teapot from the table and splashed cold water over his face. Okay, he finally regained some awareness. Have you seen my sister's grave now? As you suspected, it's an empty tomb. I nodded. Footsteps sounded outside. I quickly pushed him toward the window. Go, now, 24. In less than half a incense stick's time, the Empress pushed the door open with the Emperor. Bold Lady Liu Jiaoyi, how dare you commit adultery in the palace? Your Highness, what are you saying? When the Empress looked again, the warm chamber was empty, only I was there. Search this place. Servants saw you and General Liu enter this chamber together. See how you lie your way out. Several guards filed in and searched thoroughly.
Nurse, I hadn't seen her since the Yang family was destroyed, inside the Golden Throne Hall. The Empress spoke sweetly. Your Majesty, Lady Liu Jiaoyi, she is Yang Ying's younger sister. This palace and Your Majesty have been deceived. I stepped away from Li Yu and walked toward the Empress. Yes, I am Yang Ying's sister. I have returned. With that, I drove a dagger into the Empress's chest. You dare, guards, issue an edict. The Empress has plotted to murder the Emperor, strip her of her title, cast her into the cold palace, and punish her entire clan, exterminate 9 kinships. I wiped the blood from my hands with my personal handkerchief and stepped slowly toward Li Yu. Your Majesty, go see my sister. I'm sure she misses you dearly. I lit Ruienao incense and picked up the peeper, playing Plum Blossoms, the piece my sister had composed. Your Majesty, does this scent feel familiar? You, furious. Li Yu could not speak. This was my sister's favorite scent. When I wandered among common people, I traveled far before I found it in the state of Bolai. Did Your Majesty know, it grows in places of extreme heat, sweltering heat. Only a tiny fragment of ice is extracted from 1,000-year-old trees, yet the scent must be slowly burned with fire to release its crisp, clear aroma, as if it was born to taste the cruelty of the world. You killed my sister with your own hands, didn't you? Li Yu's eyes blazed with sharp light. He was warning me to be silent. She did not die at Qinglu's hands. She died at yours. Li Yu's eyes nearly split open. Insolence. Liu Ku, are you mad? Do you know what you're saying? Do not slander me. How could I? How could I have killed her? I stepped closer, trying to find guilt in his eyes. You lied to her. You told her you would get her out that night. Do you know what she suffered in Qinglu's camp? When those men's eyes tore at her like starved wolves, when she was stripped naked and forced to serve Qinglu like a slave, when she was branded like a slave, where were you? Her only hope to live was that you would save her. But you never intended to save her from the start, did you? But she thought you loved her, thought of her. She endured all torment and came back to you. And when she appeared before you, covered in wounds, you drove this Tai sword through her chest. Li Yu, you have a heart of stone. You forbade everyone in the palace from using Ruienao incense. Are you afraid? Afraid she will come back for you? Li Yu could not stand. He trembled and held on to the dragon throne. She should not have come back. She should not have come back. If she had died at Qinglu's hands, I would have given her glory in death, the dignity of an imperial noble consort. But if she lived, what would the world think of me? How could I answer to the world? I was forced. Aang, don't blame me. You shouldn't have come back. You shouldn't have. Li Yu gradually slipped into delirium. His eyes began to glaze over. 29. When principles came first, all love was just an illusion. Li Yu could not admit, nor dared admit, that he had abandoned the woman who loved him with all her heart for his empire. Your Majesty, you have one chance to make amends. Name of our crown princess. She deserves that throne. How can a woman show her face in public? How can she rule? I looked into his angry eyes. According to Your Majesty, women should only be trapped in the palace, used by men. That is their only path. Li Yu walked toward me, trying to calm me. A bow is good, I know. I will arrange a fine marriage for her. Your Majesty, you don't even know what a bow wants. Just like you never knew what my sister wanted. I did everything for a bow. Trust me. I love her as you do. Your love is nothing but a cage. When it conflicts with your interests, you always choose interests. 30. Word came from the cold palace. The Empress was dead. Li Yu's illness worsened, but I wanted him alive, alive to see Bao ascend the throne, alive to suffer endless guilt over my sister. I held full control over court affairs. When Liu Zheng threw in Qinglu's head onto the golden throne hall floor, the court's arguments against naming a Bao crown princess faded. They understood, without Liu Zheng. And Qinglu would have retaken Chang'an and crowned himself emperor long ago. Everything seemed settled. Li Yu's illness grew even graver. Eunuch Xie reported. Every day he called my sister's name, lost between illusion and reality, drowning in agony. The poison worked well, lovers Gu. When the mother Gu dies, the male Gu suffers a living death. This was what Li Yu deserved.